Hey everyone, Jonathan and Molly here, and welcome back to Savoring the Magic, where we believe there is magic in the details.
That's right. So today we are in Boston for the very first time, which means that we are checking out North End, the Freedom Trail, and hopefully some delicious food. And we will be starting that by a very nice looking coffee shop that we found, which is right across the street.
That's right.
So come along with us on this excursion.
So we have popped into the Thinking Cup, which came highly recommended. And here's what we are dealing with.
And it is all looking very good.
And a very happy Molly.
So look at this latte, guys.
Very well done.
It is what did I get? I got a vanilla ginger latte, which is like their house-made syrup. So
We're here with some friends, but they don't want to be on camera, so we're not going to put them on
just
camera.
us on the street, yay!
But we both got the egg and cheese sandwich.
Yep.
And we're going to try the eclair because, well,
Because we walked past it whenever we walked in and thought we need that. So that's what happened.
all right, first breakfast in Boston.
Oh,
So what was your thoughts?
it was so good. That latte was delicious. Can recommend. And honestly, everything we had there was good. That eclair.
Oh, God. Incredibly
so
good.
fantastic. The cream in it was so light, the filling.
Yeah,
It was not overly sweet to be a pastry. So
Huh.
highly recommend.
very good.
So yeah, post-breakfast, we are in Boston Commons, which is America's oldest public park. So here it is in all of its picturesque glory, established in 1634. Puritan colonists purchased the land rights to the 44 acres for 30 pounds from the first European settler of the area, Anglican minister William Blackstone.
It's a nice quote.
It is.
Here's some more information about the Embrace, which is the art piece we were just at over there. It's also pretty neat they have a Braille
Yeah.
section here. It's very neat. So this was apparently erected in 1888.
So crazy.
It's a little overcast, but hopefully y'all can see that okay.
Which we're actually going to see the Boston Massacre site on the trail.
Yeah.
So, Crispus Attucks, he was the first man to fall. A dock worker. Brewer's Fountain.
And we are approaching the Massachusetts State House.
That's right. Designed by Charles Bulfinch. It served as the seat of Massachusetts government since its opening in 1798. So this is home to both the legislative and executive branches of the state government.
It's very hard to miss.
Yes, and the former Hancock Mansion used to be right across from it. But it's gone as of 1863. Also, like not a part of the Freedom Trail, but across from the Massachusetts State House, you have this really cool memorial for the soldiers of the Civil War.
Laws and when Henry James, a novelist who leaves the U.S. and lives most of his life in England.
So you can actually follow this here in the road,
Yeah.
just like Dorothy.
Instead of the yellow brick road, though, it is just a brick.
Brick road.
Oh, look, someone who was hanged on the Boston Common.
Fun fact.
Yeah, Boston Common, mixed history, really. used to have like livestock grazing there when it was first bought, and then you also had like, I don't know, hangings and stocks and stuff. So mixed bag. But then like you also have like a lot of cool people making speeches there throughout the years. So Charles Lindbergh, MLK. Yeah, cool and weird at the same time. So
Beautiful building there.
yeah, not a part of the tour, but notice the architecture along the way. Which I don't know if you guys can read it very well from the video or not. It says Liberty Mall dedicated October 27, 1917 to our soldiers and sailors in the Great War. We follow the red brick road.
Follow the red brick road.
What I really like is on that sign it says that it shall be used for the feeding of cattle.
And a few other things.
Our next stop, and not very far from Boston Commons, obviously, is Park Street Church.
Oh, that's why it's a boyfriend.
Yeah. So built on the old side of the Granary. And that's why the adjoining burying ground is called that, which we're going to see that in just a second. Only been here since 1809, you know, no big deal.
Big deal.
So cool thing about Park Street Church, way back when, that was like the first landmark that people would see when they visited Boston.
That's true.
Got a little memorial already for Paul Revere.
Maybe a very weird thing to say, but this is an astonishingly gorgeous graveyard.
Yes. That's been around since 1660. So this is actually cool as well. Sorry, just random, but whenever you visit, they give you like a whole little map and everything so you can navigate it all. So very nice if you're doing self-guided stuff like we are.
But the looks of it will probably need it because there's a lot going on in here.
So this is the tomb for Benjamin Franklin's parents, Josiah and Abiah. Sorry, they have a ton of info in here about this. So this obelisk was actually donated by a group of citizens in 1827 when the original marker kind of fell apart. So fun fact, the inscription was actually written by Ben Franklin, who had 12 brothers and sisters, by the way. There. So this marks John Hancock's memorial. And you know, in case you forget just how much of an impact John Hancock had, you know, first signed the Declaration of Independence. He was a delegate to both the Continental Congress, and of course he was a governor of Massachusetts as well.
Such a beautiful space.
So Mark Peter Faneuil, of course Faneuil Hall. He's the one who donated the funds for the construction of Faneuil Hall.
It's pretty crazy because
Which
you're
we're going to see.
right above somebody's living room.
Yep. Be a weird thing to look at and see every day.
My goodness.
So here's the marker for Paul Revere, the older tomb, and then of course a little placard that shows the Boston Tea participation. So the marker for Robert Treat Paine, another signer of the Declaration. He also attended the Second Continental Congress. He was one of only a few to sign both the Olive Branch Petition in an attempt to make amends with Britain, which was rejected, and the Declaration of Independence. He was also the state's first Attorney General and helped draft the state constitution. Yep, Samuel Adams, second cousin of President John Adams, and of course he was known for his organization of, just organizer of the revolution, really. Sons of Liberty, all that jazz. He's one of the main strategists. And of course, a signer of the Declaration. And then besides Samuel Adams, the marker and remains of the victims of the Boston Massacre. All right, we are on to our next destination, King's Chapel and the King's Chapel Burying Ground. And in the meantime, this is some of the most beautiful parts of the city I think exist.
Yeah, it's beautiful. We're passing by Suffolk University currently.
Yes.
Just some
The
really
Omni Parker
gorgeous-
House, which is one of the oldest, I think, hotels in the city.
Yep.
This Temple Baptist Church is gorgeous. And there's our next stop.
Here we are, King's Chapel, founded 1686.
Yep.
It's the first Anglican church in Boston.
Yep. And the first Unitarian church in the United States, after the Revolution, anyway. Then, of course, attached to the church is the burial grounds, which I think the main person we're going to find the grave for here is Mary Chilton, who was the first woman to step off the Mayflower. Looks like Charles Bulfinch might be buried here as well. First governor of Massachusetts.
John.
Well, really, it's for all the Winthrops, which is just a lot of
Bunch.
history in Massachusetts. Oh, this is one, the Sons of Liberty.
Yeah.
Wow. Coming out of King's Chapel, so beautiful.
Yeah, very ornate.
It's on the original church ground. This version of it was built in like 1754.
Yeah.
And man,
Yeah, it has the oldest pulpit in America.
still in use.
Still in use.
Yeah, there were just a lot of incredible details. We literally saw the pew area where George Washington sat at whenever he visited.
Pretty incredible.
Here we go, the original site of the Boston Latin School. It's the oldest public school in America. It was founded April 23rd, 1635. So the statue of Ben Franklin is here to commemorate it. He went there. Although, ironically, 5 signers of independence went to school here, and he was the only one that didn't graduate. So the other attendees, notable attendees, who signed the Declaration of Independence, were Samuel Adams, John Hancock, Robert Treat Payne, and William Hooper. So the original school building was wooden. It was torn down in 1745 to make way for an expanded King's Chapel. But the school still exists. It's over in Fenway. This one and the Franklin statue are both on either side of the old City Hall.
That is the back of King's Chapel.
Yes. Oh,
Beautiful
that's
building.
the other thing I was going to say is that the interior of that is considered to be the finest example of Georgian architecture still in North America today. And I feel like that is accurate after being inside. Oh, so this is another cool thing about King's Chapel is, we said that the original building was there. Well, the original building was wood, and they actually built the one currently there around it so they could still hold services while it was being built.
Pretty incredible.
So cool.
And it feels weird that a historical place is now a Chipotle, but
I
at least
know.
the building has remained.
So, cool thing about this building is it was constructed in 1718, and it used to be the old Corner Bookstore, which was Boston's oldest commercial building, and was home to the 19th century publishing giant Ticknor and Fields. It was saved from demolition in 1960, and the lease helped subsidize important historic preservation projects in Boston neighborhoods.
So, of course, we had to come in here and actually see what it looked like on the inside. I've done a really nice job of kind of keeping some of the original structuring.
Yeah, I also want it noted, guys, we told you that it was the former home of the publishing giant, Ticknor and Fields. They published titles such as Thoreau's Walden, Hawthorne's The Scarlet Letter, Louisa May Alcott's Little Women, Beecher's Toast, Uncle Tom's Cabin, Longfellow's Midnight Ride of Paul Revere. Ward Howe's Battle Hymn of the Republic was first included in the Atlantic Monthly, which was printed here, and the first American editions of Charles Dickens' works were issued from this building as well. So we were talking about some real literary history here, which makes me very happy.
So we have a few more historical stops along the way, but we are headed to a very important location, and that is lunch.
Yes.
So we're trying out a place called the Daily Catch.
Yes.
Assuming we can get in, we're trying to
Yes.
get there early so that we can grab a table.
That is our goal, anyway. Oh, but also, pro tip, if you're going to be walking the whole Freedom Trail, making stops, all that jazz, that Old Corner bookstore, like we said, is a Chipotle now. Great place to stop, sit for a minute, grab a drink. If you buy something there, you get the code for the bathroom at the bottom of the receipt. And then you can also take a restroom stop. So
It's win-win.
and you get to sit in a really cool historical place. So there you go.
That's right.
Yeah, so this is the Old State House, and it is the oldest surviving public building in Boston. It was built in 1713, and it was the center of civic, political, and business life. It also stood witness to the Boston Massacre because that spot is not far away from here.
Pretty crazy. There's a T entrance right in the beneath this building. Pretty incredible.
I know. Also, random, but lots of cool weather vanes in the city we're going to see as we go along, actually, because Old North Church has one and Faneuil Hall. But speaking of which, this is Faneuil Hall right here. Often referred to as the home of free speech and the cradle of liberty. It hosted America's first town meeting. It was built as a commerce center in 1741, and it was where the Sons of Liberty proclaimed their dissent against royal oppression. So it's been the open forum meeting hall and marketplace for more than 270 years. So we got to see the plaque for his grave, and now we get to see his statue out in front of Faneuil Hall. Samuel Adams, which is actually really fitting just because, you know, he helped organize so much of the revolution. In 1764, Americans first protested here against the Sugar Act and the Stamp Act, setting the doctrine that would become known as no taxation without representation. And there would be gatherings here to protest the Townshend Acts, the Redcoat occupation, and the Tea Act. It also has the most famous weather vane in Boston. It's a golden grasshopper on top. And I believe the craftsman's name was Shim Drown. I don't know, he designed the weather vane on top of the Old North Church as well.
And that thing says modernity more than now it's right next to a Sephora.
Yes. Also, funny, now there's a Samuel Adams tap room right there
Yeah, I
as
did
well.
notice that as well. Fitting.
We'll get a better shot of the weather vane as we walk. So tradition has it the weather vane at Faneuil Hall was used during the War of 1812 to spot spies. So anyone who didn't know the answer to the question of what is on top of Faneuil Hall invited suspicion.
Pretty smart, really.
To be fair, golden grasshopper kind of stands out. So on our way to lunch, we realized that we were passing the Holocaust Memorial, New England Holocaust Memorial.
Really beautiful structure. And a very fitting description here. Something to always keep in mind. So I am absolutely obsessed with the architecture in this city. And we're heading over to Paul Revere's house right over there. Quite a line today.
She had to redo the whole
So you can actually film inside the church, and you couldn't do anything inside of Paul Revere's house. Photos or video.
Yeah, so Old North Church we could take photos, but not video. Paul Revere's house you couldn't do anything. Paul Revere's house was built in 1680.
Yeah.
It's very small, but also really cool to see kind of the way that those rooms would have been set up during that time period.
Yeah.
And then after you walk through the house, you go into like a little exhibit area, and they have like spoons and like silver items that he or his family, because obviously some of his sons worked with him later in life on stuff.
Yeah.
Produced, which I think that's one thing about Paul Revere. You know, obviously we all associate him with the poem for good reason, but also like he was just a really influential person in Boston.
Yeah.
Like he was part of the Sons of Liberty. Like he was a silversmith and a goldsmith, and he was like a dentist for a period of time, and like I don't know, he just worked with all this stuff. And so his name is just all over Boston.
Yeah.
Really, which has been cool to find out and to learn about. But yeah, definitely recommend these two
For 100%.
things. There's some of the only stops on the Freedom Trail that you have to pay for.
Yeah, it's very nominal.
It's like $5 to get into Old North Church,
It's
and
like
$6 to
$6
get
to
into
get into
Paul
Paul
Revere.
Revere's, yeah.
So do you
Very
recommend?
cheap.
And then we have a whole bunch of photos from Old North Church that we'll start putting
We'll
in
go
kind
through.
of here and kind of give you guys a breakdown of what these things are.
Built in 1723, Old North Church is the oldest still standing church in the city of Austin. It is still an active Episcopal church. Old North played an important role in the events of April 18, 1775, surrounding Paul Revere's ride. 2 lanterns were displayed in Old North steeple as a signal about the movement of British soldiers. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow immortalized this moment in his 1860 poem, Paul Revere's Ride, with the famous line, "One if by land, 2 if by sea." Old Norse organ was built in 1759 by Thomas Johnson and was the first organ constructed of parts totally sourced within the colonies. As you look around the main floor of the church, you'll notice the unusual seating. These are called box pews. Until 1912, members of the congregation had to purchase seating, and box pew sales were an important source of revenue for the church. Pew owners were allowed to decorate their pews to suit their style and pocketbook. The box pews were approximately 30 to 40 pounds a year, which in today's money would be about $40,000 annually. In case you weren't sure you were in the Italian side of town, the sights and smells will remind you.
There's also Italian flags just kind of randomly, and I love it.
So we decided to change plan because the place we were going to go to was packed and it was only cash. And for a meal that was going to be kind of expensive.
That wasn't going to work. So
So, how was your lunch?
It was so good. So we were smart and we split an appetizer and then we
Yeah.
split an entree because we just figured the portions would be way too big for us.
And they were.
And we were right. So
Loud truck. So we got the gnocchi, and we had
the best gnocchi I've ever had.
Like
Like
a
melt in your mouth.
God.
Good.
so good, and then kind of like a seafood medley. Had calamari, scallops,
Yeah,
shrimp,
frito. Yeah. And shrimp too.
shrimp. Yeah.
And
Incredibly
It
good.
was so
Probably some of
good.
the best calamari I think I've ever had. Honestly, very tender, very well cooked.
the bread service was great as well, starting out.
So we didn't really film anything in the meal because we ended up talking to this couple next to us. Shout out to Tim and Brenda for being awesome.
That's right.
So yeah, we didn't really film a lot during the meal just because we talked to them for most of the time.
It's one thing I will say about a lot of the restaurants on Hanover. It is smaller spaces, and so the tables are kind of closer together, but
Yeah.
it kind of makes for a fun family-style atmosphere, even
Yeah.
though you have your own party going
Yeah.
on. So our friends were on one side, Tim and Brenda were on the other, and we ended up talking to Tim and Brenda like the whole time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they were really sweet. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us out. We have videos coming out every Wednesday and Saturday. But until next time,
Keep savoring the magic.